They say money can't buy happiness, and while that might be true, it can in fact buy you a Panigale V2. The question is not V2 or V4, it's not Honda or Ducati either. The question is, what do you need out of a bike? The V2 was one I thought about for over a year before finally pulling the trigger. The internet would have you convinced it's not enough bike. After 6 months on the saddle of this machine, I can confidently say it's the perfect amount. Civil enough for casual use, yet powerful enough to put you on the 7 o'clock news. The exhaust note, even OEM, will have you chasing 10,000 RPM with every gear change. The closest comparison I can think of is if a Harley and an F1 car had a baby. Classic V-twin sound, with the power of a modern-day Volkswagen Jetta and 2,700 less pounds. It's a combination that's mathematically guaranteed to twist your stomach. It's also mathematically guaranteed to make your head spin when you see the out-the-door price. Ducati recently raised the price of this bike from 16,500 MSRP to over 18,000. If I waited another 30 days to purchase mine, I would have been in the hole an additional $2,000. A question you might want answered is this worth nearly $20,000? Well, you tell me. After some small modifications, tax and title, this Biscotti Rocket set me back $23,000. To this day, it's the single most expensive thing I've owned aside from my house. For that price, you could have 2 GSX-R 750s, 3,715 spicy chicken sandwiches without tip, or 1/5 of a Jeep Grand Wagoneer. While 2 Suzukis, or a 9-year supply of chicken, or 1/5 of a Chrysler product all sound enticing, I can't help but pick the Panigale every time. I may not be able to eat my V2 or stuff the cast from 21 Kids and Counting in it, but I can outrun a police helicopter all while using less fuel than a Camry. Even on longer rides, it's a level of comfort I haven't experienced before. A full tuck position will have your neck sore after a while, but expecting it not to would be like expecting running a marathon for the first time to be comfortable. Having only ridden old sport bikes and new dual sport since 2018, all I ever knew was discomfort. Sure, a dual sport is ridden in an upright and relaxed position, but the narrow seat makes for prison-level comfort. The wide seat of the V2, although built around a literal fire, still finds a way of being supportive and comfortable on longer rides. Another big talking point of the Panigale is the level of heat experienced while riding. It makes being stuck in traffic worse than being stuck in literal hell, but makes cooler days that much more enjoyable. On an 85-degree day, I measured an exhaust temperature of 220 degrees and a seat temperature of just under 90. In a previous video titled 5 Things to Never Do with Your Ducati, I mentioned not riding in heavy traffic. Although I racked up hundreds of comments roasting that point, I still stand by it. This is a bike to enjoy on the open road, a clear highway, a racetrack. Commuting in traffic every day with it would be like buying a cheetah and strapping it to a tree with a 15-foot leash. Sure, it'll live, but it won't be alive. The V2 is a bike that only runs cooler the faster it goes. It was, after all, built with a purpose. While the cargo space is laughable, the heat can be unbearable at times, and it attracts more attention than a yoga class in the middle of Central Park. It does what it is designed to do very well. Everything from running errands to dragging me on a racetrack are all things this bike can do with ease. I must admit, at around 30 miles per gallon, the fuel efficiency is not that high, but it's to be expected when you're always chasing the high RPM exhaust note. At low RPMs and high load acceleration, it vibrates like a machine gun, but for some reason, it feels right. It's not the kind of imprecise vibration that will have you pulling over to inspect your drivetrain, but instead the kind that reminds you that you're on a stiff, street-legal rocket that is always trying to kill you. Or is it? The level of configurability damn near makes the Panigale V2 a strong contender for a first bike. Traction control, ABS, engine brake, and wheelie control all have multiple levels of adjustability, making it possible to dial in street, sport, and race mode exactly to your liking. In a more conservatively built mode, the bike's safety systems behave as intended while still managing to be unintrusive but still effective in sportier modes. Regardless of the setting, none of the computers catch you off guard. The safety systems offer a level of predictability that you'll find comforting. The only reason I wouldn't recommend a V2 as a starter bike is the price. For most of us normal folks, $23,000 is a lot to spend on something you don't know how to use yet. Even though some people don't drop their first bikes, most do. If that's something you're willing to stomach, then I'd say go for it. For the rest of us, the V2 is a fantastic second or third or fourth or 15th bike. While I've purchased many things with the intent to use them for a while and sell them, this is not one of those things. The V2 will join the rest of many previous Ducatis that are now considered classics. The timeless styling is sure to look the part even 10 years from now. The V-twin engine will keep delivering its incredible sound, while the rest of our roads are electrified and sterilized. Sure, maintenance is expensive and you can't just bring it to George down the street for a tune-up, but you won't be thinking about that when you hear this.